church today and all of you online. And for those of you who are new and maybe don't know me, I'm Pastor Elizabeth Cichocki. Have you ever wondered if somebody somewhere has told a story about us and called us those people? And if we say, oh, there's not one of those people in my family, maybe they're talking about us. Let's be honest. Every person has one of those people in their family. There we go. Every workplace has one. Every neighborhood has one. And every church has one. Those people are everywhere. This may be a story that you've heard before from me or someone else, or maybe for the first time. It's an old story with a new perspective. A woman was waiting at the airport. Her flight was delayed. She had several hours to wait. So she went to the airport store and bought a book and a bag of cookies. She then sat down next to a man and started reading her book. While she was engrossed in her book, she saw the man beside her boldly grab a cookie from her cookie bag. She ignored the incident, brushed it off because she wanted to avoid a scene. Then she took some cookies from the bag and went back to her book. But the man seemed to really enjoy these cookies, and he took some more cookies from the bag and started eating them. As time passed, she was getting increasingly irritated at this cookie thief. Every time she took a cookie from the bag, he took a cookie from the bag. And finally, when there was one last cookie left, the man nervously took the cookie, broke it in half, and offered her one. The woman snatched the other half of the cookie from his hand and thought, this guy has some nerve. And even after eating a half a bag of my cookies, he didn't even show any gratitude. She had been so irritated by this man. She was relieved to hear her flight was starting to board. She gathered her belongings and headed to the gate. And she didn't look back at that cookie. She boarded the plane, sat in her seat, pulled out her book to start reading, and then she reached into her bag and was surprised to find a bag full of cookies. She thought, if these are my cookies, the other one she was eating from was his bag of cookies that he was sharing with her. While she was flushed with anger for herself about her cookies, the man was happily sharing his cookies with her. She was filled with feelings of guilt and regret. But it was too late to apologize to him. She was the cookie thief. And what I realized or recently learned about this story is that it really did happen to a famous British sci-fi author named Douglas Adams. Some of you know him. He thought someone was eating his recently purchased package of cookies, or as they say on the other side of the pond, biscuits. And then later on, when he moved his newspaper, he found his unopened package of cookies sitting there on the table. What would we do, excuse me, if this happened to us? We may want to consider how we would react if we were Douglas Adams or if we were the cookie thief. And just as a side note, one of my favorite novels by Douglas Adams is Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. So if you want to talk more about it afterwards, I'll be glad to. But today, I'd really like to talk about those people, right? Now, just for fun, raise your hand if you think you might know who I'm talking about when I say those people. Come on. Yeah, okay, good. Other people are just too shy to raise their hand. Okay. But don't point at them in this group because that's going to be a little awkward. So those people, we know exactly who they are. They are everywhere. We know they're at our work. They're even in our neighborhood. They're at family gatherings. They're in the comments section of just about every post. I think they're called trolls, right? If we're not sure who those people are, then here is an explanation. Those people can be incredibly difficult to deal with. They're often critical of everyone around them. They have an opinion about everything. And somehow only their opinion is the correct one. They can be controlling. They can be arrogant. They can be rude. They can be impatient. They are self-righteous. Sometimes they're just plain mean. Those people know everything about everything. If we're talking about politics, they're the expert. If we're talking about sports, they are the experts. If we're talking about parenting, finances, health, gardening, car repair, world history, or even the right way to load our dishwasher, they are the experts. And they are going to make sure everybody knows it. We know of whom we speak. We see them on social media. Someone posts a picture of a puppy. And within minutes, these people have turned it into an argument about economics, politics, nutrition, and the decline of the human civilization. They do not write comments. They write dissertations. And there's no paragraphs. It's a continuous stream of words. We may find these people in our workplace. They know exactly what everyone is doing wrong. They can spot a typo 3 departments away. But somehow they remain completely unaware of their own 3-alarm fire. We have all had experiences with those people in traffic. Those people are the ones who think every other driver is the problem. The light turned green and they're already leaning on their horn because that half a second makes such a big difference. Getting there on time, right? We have seen those people in stores. They want to speak to the manager even before the employee has finished saying hello. Those people that are at our family gatherings. Get enough relatives together in a house, and eventually one of those people will emerge. Maybe they're criticizing everyone's life choices. Maybe they're giving unsolicited advice. Maybe they're bringing up politics at Thanksgiving again. And maybe they're asking, so when are you finally going to ... fill it in, get married, have a baby, get a job, whatever that is. And before long, everyone at the table is exchanging that look. We know the look that says, well, here we go again. Those people have an amazing ability to turn a simple conversation into a debate into an argument, and an argument into a story that gets retold every holiday for the next 20 years. You know, years ago, when electronic manuals started replacing printed manuals, I had a customer who bought a system for my company. He asked if I could send him a printed copy of the manual. Now these manuals are about 100 pages, okay? And this customer had both an MD and a PhD, and he also ran the laboratory. In other words, this is someone that really never took no for an answer. I explained that our company was environmentally conscious, which it was. We were a California company. We did not print manuals anymore. We provided electronic copies. I even mentioned he was welcome to print the manual himself. Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, this did not go well. Not at all. Apparently, save the trees was not the answer he was hoping. Those people always have to have the last word. They always have to win. They always have to be right. They always have to be heard. And the funny thing is, every single one of us here can think immediately of somebody when we talk about those people. A face comes to mind, a name pops in our head, and we're trying not to smile right now because we're picturing them in our mind's eye, right? Today, some people here in church or online may be uncomfortable about this, maybe slightly concerned, maybe mildly bothered. Shall we use the term spiritually aggravated? Some people criticize churches. Some people visit once and decide it's not for them. Some leave negative reviews. Some never come back to church. As spiritualists, we understand that people must find what is right for them. But this sermon is not about any of us. It's about those people. Or is it? Because here's the challenge. As easy as it is to identify those people, as easy as it is to point at those people, Eventually, we have to ask the difficult question. What if, occasionally, we are those people? I know, this was not the plot twist anybody wanted today. But if we're gonna be honest here, everyone has been one of those people at some point in time. We all have had bad days. We have all been impatient. We all have been selfish. We all have been difficult. We all have needed kindness when we did not deserve it. The goal is not simply to avoid those people. As spiritualists, we need to do something that may not be easy for us. We need to try to understand those people. We need to honor those people. We need to show kindness to those people. We need to respond differently than the world responds. The goal is to love those people. And perhaps more importantly, recognize when we are becoming one of them. Because the moment we start thinking, this sermon is definitely about somebody else, we should probably pay close attention to our conversations with others. The goal is to accept people for who they are. And in doing so, become a little less like those people, ourselves. Gaining the right perspective takes effort and a willingness to correct our behavior. It means looking beyond ourselves and trying to understand another person's point of view. We all think differently, and those differences can strengthen us when we approach each other with empathy and an open mind. Think about our last misunderstanding. Would it have changed if we had considered the other person's perspective? Perspective can transform our relationships and deepen our understanding of the world. Over time, this leads to greater self-awareness, stronger relationships, and personal growth. That is why we talk about dealing with those people in a way that honors who they are, and in a way that reflects our spiritualist principles. Treat those people as we would like to be treated. As we go into this world this week, the goal is to accept people for who they are, and in doing so, become less like those people ourselves. Amen.
Amen. Amen.